U.S. spends $35 billion to quadruple THAAD interceptor production. The U.S. government has awarded Lockheed Martin a $35 billion contract to quadruple production of the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense Interceptor, the missile system that forms one of America's most critical layers of protection against ballistic missile attack, committing to a 7-year procurement that represents one of the largest missile defense contracts in American history. The award, announced June 24, 2026, converts a framework agreement signed between Lockheed Martin and the Department of War in January 2026 into a fully executed procurement contract, providing the long-term production commitment that allows Lockheed Martin to make the capital investments necessary to dramatically expand manufacturing capacity. The contract is structured as an undefinitized contract action, a procurement mechanism that allows work to begin before all final terms are negotiated, reflecting the urgency the government has attached to expanding THAAD interceptor stocks as rapidly as possible. It is one of the first major multi-year contracts executed under the Department of War's Acquisition Transformation Strategy, an initiative designed to replace the traditional annual or short-term procurement cycles that have constrained missile production rates for decades, with longer horizon commitments that give manufacturers the certainty needed to invest in facilities, workforce, and supply chains. THAAD, which stands for Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, is a ground-based missile defense system designed to intercept and destroy short, medium, and intermediate-range ballistic missiles during the terminal phase of their flight as they descend toward their targets. Unlike the Patriot missile system, which operates within the atmosphere at lower altitudes, THAAD is the only American system capable of intercepting threats both inside and outside the atmosphere, giving it a higher intercept altitude and a larger defended area than Patriot alone. A single THAAD battery consists of interceptor missiles, a mobile launcher, a ground-based radar with a detection range exceeding 1,000 kilometers, 621 miles, and a fire control and communication system that can integrate with broader missile defense networks. Each interceptor destroys its target through kinetic impact rather than a warhead detonation, a helical approach that requires extreme precision but eliminates the risk of an explosive warhead failing to detonate or detonating prematurely. THAAD's combat record includes Operation Epic Fury, the American military campaign against Iranian targets conducted earlier in 2026, where the system defended forces and key infrastructure against missile and drone attacks, according to Lockheed Martin's announcement. The system has also been deployed to South Korea, Guam, and the United Arab Emirates, among other locations, providing missile defense coverage for American forces and allied populations in 3 of the world's most missile-threatened regions. Israel's experience absorbing large-scale Iranian ballistic missile attacks in 2024 and 2025 demonstrated concretely what happens when missile defense interceptor stocks run low under sustained attack, a lesson that American defense planners absorbed with considerable urgency and that directly shaped the political will behind the January framework agreement and this week's contract execution. The quadrupling of production that the $35 billion contract finances requires not just more missiles but more factories to build them, more workers to staff those factories, and more suppliers to provide the components those workers assemble. Lockheed Martin has been investing in exactly that infrastructure at a scale that has few precedents in recent American defense manufacturing history. The company broke ground on a new munitions production center in Troy, Alabama, weeks before this contract announcement, as part of what it describes as more than $9 billion in planned investment through 2030, spanning more than 20 new or modernized facilities across the United States. A next-generation interceptor facility opened in Cortland, Alabama in June 2026, and a munitions acceleration center operates in Camden, Arkansas, adding production capacity for the broader family of Lockheed Martin interceptor and precision strike weapons alongside THAAD. Tim Cahill, president of Lockheed Martin Missiles and Fire Control, framed the contract in terms of the structural shift it represents in how the American government buys missile defense capability. This award reflects our shared vision with the Department of War to strengthen America's arsenal of freedom through a transformational shift to multi-year procurement, Cahill said. This new approach propels our efforts to strengthen the defense industrial base, expand production, and deliver capabilities to the American warfighter at unprecedented speed and scale. It is part of a pattern of accelerated missile production investments the Department of War has been executing since early 2026, covering multiple Lockheed Martin systems simultaneously. A $4.7 billion contract for accelerated PAC-3 missile segment enhancement production was awarded in April 2026 following a framework agreement for that program established in January. The PAC-3 MSE is the most advanced version of the Patriot interceptor missile capable of engaging ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and aircraft at ranges and altitudes that earlier Patriot variants could not reach. Framework agreements for both THAAD and the Precision Strike missile were also established earlier in 2026, and the PRSM production quadrupling announced separately this week demonstrates that the pattern of framework-to-contract conversion is accelerating across multiple programs simultaneously rather than proceeding sequentially.